welcome back. We're turning our attention to Plateau State in terms of the judiciary, the court cases that have come through. So we've got two gentlemen joining us. This morning we've got Mr. Steve Abba, who is a former member, Judicial Service Commission for Plateau State. He's a former second vice president of the NBA and the former vice chair, Speedel. He's here in the studios. Good morning. Thank you for coming on. We also do have Honorable Dachun Bagos, who's a former member, National Security and Intelligence Committee. He joins us virtually. Good morning, and thank you for joining us today on the program as well, Mr. Bagos. Let me start with you, Mr. Bagos, on this matter. The case concerning the Plateau State governor, which is appealed now. I know your party clearly not happy with that, so you decided to go upstairs on that matter. We had a lawyer, a professor, who was with us yesterday, and he raised some issues about that matter, which you seem to disagree with by our conversation. He did say, well, from the look of things, the party disobeyed the court. The court wasn't satisfied that they had gone ahead and conducted the Congress, or party primary, you say it's Congress, for members in that state. He says that they used some members and not 17, as the court had expected. So could you just give us a background to what this is about?
Thank you, Chamberlain. Good morning, Nigeria and Nigerians. The Plateau issue is quite unfortunate that it's been misunderstood and interpreted in a different way entirely. The issue of Plateau State is an issue that purely is a pre-election matter and a party issue that started since 2021. And these issues were squarely dealt with. This was an issue that a member of the party took the party to court because of the Congress. And the court annulled the Congress that we should repeat our Congresses. And again, before then, at various levels of the local government, ESCOs, they were in court at various levels. So when we repeated our Congress in 2021, 12 leadership, not Congress, of those local government, because in every local government you have leadership of 17 people out of 235 Congress party members who made leadership of every single ward of that local government. So 17 were in contention out of the 12. So when we repeated our Congress, the total number of delegates were over 3,500. Because of any further litigation, we excluded 204, which made 17 times 12. And 17 times 12, 204, out of 3,500, you look at the party constitution, we have already made quorum to conduct our congresses. And that was what happened. So now, the person that even contested the congresses came and congratulated the current leadership of Honorable Chris Hassan as the party chairman and other ESCOs. So now going further to say that 204 people are not part of 3,500 of Congress members, which we already have a quorum, according to the party constitution, it's very unhard. It's everywhere. That you know that once your constitution of the party has given you the go-ahead and you have made that quorum, you are squarely. And again, it will interest you, Chamberlain, that INEC monitored the congresses. INEC wrote a report. But in court, it was so surprising to now hear that the person that signed, or the INEC officials that came and signed for monitoring the congresses are not the people that signed for CTC. How can someone who signed, monitored Congress and go, is no longer in the office, an admin officer, to come and sign a CTC saying that he was the person that monitored such congresses? Those were the issues that the judges refused to administer as our own evidence, knowing very well that we organize congresses. And the narrative that is out there again saying that it was party primaries, it is never about party primaries. It was an issue that took place in 2021. And even knowing very well that the Supreme Court this February 2023 clearly stated that INEC is the final decision in determining dispute in party matters. But on our own issue here, you find that INEC has given its report that PDP in Plateau State organized its congress, not primaries that the professor was talking about yesterday, and talking about 12 people, 12 local government out of 17. That is not the issue. We should be talking about Congress members. We have 3,520 something Congress members. Out of the 3,520 something party Congress members, 204 did not participate because of litigation above them.
All right.
So we have so these are issues and narratives that are out there. And let me tell you something again, Chamberlain. The counsel to APC now in court, in the person of Honorable Edward Pajok, who is my predecessor in office, was the counsel to PDP when we were having these issues. When we were discussing and issues were so high, we now said, okay, what is it there? Why can't we even reorganize another? We can do congresses over congresses and we will still win. So let's go back and do another congresses. We told the National Party that dissolve the current ESCO so that we will do the congresses. The same counsel to APC now, who was our counsel and our party member, went to court, obtained an injunction against the National Party that they should not dissolve the current ESCO, that he is now the counsel of APC, saying that we did not organize, when he was the one that advised us not to redo the Congress 3 times.
All right, Mr. Bagos.
We have already met the requirements.
Okay, so, let's also let's hear from.
It's another issue.
No, just hang on. You get to respond a little further. Mr. Abba, you heard his perspective on this matter. Is that he thinks that is the substance of the matter here? Do you share the
Thank you, Chamberlain. It goes without question that Honorable Bagos is partisan with respect to this matter because he's directly in the middle of it. It was his position has been affected by the judgments of the court. It's important that we provide historical context and a factual basis to this whole Plateau State issue. I'm aware that most of the commentators are either unaware of the facts, have not read the judgments of the cases themselves, neither are they aware of what transpired. The historical background to this matter is that the whole thing arose from a dispute between 2 factions of the PDP. One led by former Governor Jonah Jang and the other led by Jeremiah Oseni. They had issues with respect to the constitution of their party structure across all the levels on the plateau. And the faction that was loyal to General Oseni went to court to challenge the other faction led by Jang. And the court made profound pronouncements stipulating specific steps and actions that must be taken by the PDP with respect to its structure on the plateau, right from the World Congress, World local government to the state. And they never complied.
Are you a member of the PDP?
I'm not a member of the PDP, but the judgment is in the public domain. And I've had benefit of going through the judgment. And that is the factual, that judgment has been the bane of the PDP on the plateau. Now, in 2022, there was a by-election in Plateau State when the member representing Basa Josnot Federal Constituency died while in office. There was a by-election in 2022, February 2022. And a PDP candidate won. The person that came second was of the PRP. That was the person that came second in the election. It was of the PRP, Alkali, Muhammad Alkali, that is his name. And the man challenged the PDP candidate on making this one of the major grounds of his petition, that the PDP lacked the structure to sponsor a candidate on the basis of qualification.
Yeah, Mr. Abba, we appreciate you trying to give us the background to some of these matters, but yes, we're trying to factor in so much in so little time that we've got here. But this substance, I mean, this particular, predicating this on this recent matter, which also affected several other members of the PDP.
Yes.
For which he says the crux of the matter for him has to do with their conducting the Congress. You're saying that that is not the case.
So that is the point. That's the point I was making. I was giving you need to understand the background for you to understand where we are today. The Court of Appeal today has simply followed its previous decisions on the issue. In Alkali's case, the Court of Appeal held that PDP on the Plateau does not have a structure. Similarly, in the Plateau South constituency, state constituency, the member representing that constituency was an APC member. He died while in office. There was also a by-election in the same last year.
So is this an internal affair of the PDP?
It's not, because the issue of qualification has been made the issue of qualification of a candidate to stand for election is rooted in the Constitution. Section 177 for the governorship, Section 65, and Section 106 for the state and the National Assembly.
So him saying that INEC supervised, monitored all of that, and did affirm that they indeed complied with the processes and submitted names is immaterial.
It's not. It's one thing to claim. It's another thing to prove.
Is it a claim or a fact?
It's a claim, because I was in court when the matter when this trial held at the trial tribunal. The PDP.
So INEC did not play the roles that Mr. Bagos said they played.
Now let me give you so that you need to understand the facts. In fact, you see, there's a lot of misconception with respect to this matter. Most people who comment are doing so from a very jaundiced perspective. And you need to put all the facts out there. Now, like I was saying, the order of the court was that the PDP should go and comply with the provisions of the Constitution, its own Constitution, and the Electoral Act with respect to its structure. A party does not exist in vacuum. It exists through structures. And they failed to comply. So now, they claim subsequently, in 2023, that they had conducted a Congress in 2021, whereas as at 2022, about 5 judgments of the Court of Appeal were consistent on the fact that the PDP had not comply with that order of court directly to go and hold congresses.
All right, so
that constituted what we call in law an issue estoppel.
Why do you think the trial court didn't share the same view?
Which trial court?
Tribunal.
Well, I don't know. It depends on the perspective.
The facts are out there too.
What the facts out there? The trial court hinged its decision on the fact that it was an internal party of the PDP.
Now you say it's not.
No, it's not, because the issue of the qualification by several authorities, notable Fire Me Against Oni, has said that the issue of qualification is both pre and post-election. Muslimco has settled that issue.
Mr. Bagos, what do you think of this?
Chimbali, you say, let me even take him back to the issue of Aga and versus Alkali. The issue of Aga and versus Alkali was predetermined by the 2010 Electoral Act. The 2023 election should be judged according to the 2023 Electoral Act, which clearly says that the issue of nomination in Section 84 of the Electoral Act clearly states that it is a party matter unless you are a party man before you be able to challenge the nomination of any. So why is it that our own matter is not being looked upon with the 2023 Electoral Act as it's supposed to be? And even the issue of sponsorship in the Constitution in Section 65, which clearly says that. So why is it that we are not being judged according to the 2023 Electoral Act, but we are being looked upon as if we are still being judged according to the 2010 Electoral Act? The issue of Plateau issue, why from the tribunal down the issue of voting or whatever they might have played, why is it that our election of Plateau State is not being looked upon on those entire bases, knowing very well that every law is to maintain peace and order. But in the case of Plateau, let me still take you further, Chamberlain, that why is it that Plateau State is the only state among the 36 states that have one dedicated panel that has judged the National Assembly members, and has looked into the case of House of Assembly members and the government. One dedicated panel, while in other states, I know of my colleagues that were in different panels, in different states, at different levels. So someone with 2 cases, he has 2 different panels. But all of us in Plateau is just like we are being put in front of an abattoir for a very one teacher to do what they are doing. So these are issues that even in law, in terms of maintaining peace and order, the genuinity of this case should be able to be looked upon. None of the party members is contesting the issue of elections in Plateau State, but interloping into the issue of pre-election matters, which the Supreme Court has clearly mentioned out and spelled out. We have we have all references in terms of this, but these are issues that I expect my brother in the studio to genuinely look at these issues, that why our cases are not being looked according to the 2023 Electoral Act as it's been amended.
Okay, so do you consider this a pre-election matter?
Absolutely, it is. Like I said, in the case of Fayemi against Oni and Usman against Dangana, the Supreme Court has settled the question of qualification as being both a pre-election and a post-election matter. It's very clear.
All right, let's bring in
the issue of qualification is both pre and post-election. It's settled in Fayemi against Oni and Usman against Dangana. Supreme Court decisions.
Ayo, go ahead.
The issue here is to begin with the language of that is being used, in that issue, Mr. Abba. I think it was the counsel to the PDP, Mr. Mike Tiaba, who said that, look, we should pay attention to the language of the court. Now, the court wasn't talking about nomination. The court was talking about sponsorship. Mr. Abba, you with us in the studio in Abuja, help us understand why that is. Because if that is the contention that Mr. Bagos, Honorable Bagos is talking about, then perhaps there is a need for some more enlightenment in terms of what the differences are. If the fellow is a nominee, is a candidate, does that make it a pre-election matter or a post-election matter? If the court is talking about sponsorship, is that a pre-election matter or a post-election matter? Let's just see if we can quickly clear that.
Now, the primaries of any political party are internal parties of the matter, of the political party. The primaries, the conduct of the primaries are internal businesses of the political party. However, in reference to the governorship position specifically, the Constitution has made prescription for what will qualify a candidate to contest in that election. In Section 177C, there is no room for independent candidacy. You must belong to a political party, and that political party must sponsor you. So what that presupposes is that, first of all, you must have a political party which is recognized by law, with its proper structures in place for it to be enabled to advance a party to contest under its platform. And so to the extent that there was non-compliance with the orders of the court for the PDP to establish the structure on the Plateau, clearly it becomes a post-election issue. Because if you recall, the APC are not members of the PDP for them to bring the matter pre-election. They cannot do that as a pre-election matter because they are not members of to challenge that process. So it was the PDP, the infighting between the PDP that gave rise to this scenario that the APC has sort of cashed in on. And they only have themselves to blame.
You, Honorable Bagos, part of what the court said, Justice Okonabang was quoted as saying that unless the PDP resolved its issues in Plateau State, it will always suffer self-inflicted misfortune. What could the judge be talking about?
First of all, is that can't we look at the laws first? First of all, before you now judge any political party to be able to look at what does the law stand in terms of electoral act or even in terms of the constitution, is that does that political party has its own constitution? Did the members of the party conduct themselves according to the constitution of the political party? When you now look at that, you now take it in line with the electoral act alongside the constitution. And like I said earlier, we first of all met the required condition of our own constitution by having a quorum. And when you are now looking at the issue of nomination have to do with our own party primaries. And why sponsorship.
Yeah, you already discussed all of that quite succinctly, but I'm just wondering because some of the issues that have been raised, and I think your co-panelist on this program has also mentioned the same thing, that it's because of the infighting. And there is also a possibility that if there is infighting, the people who would fight against the PDP would probably also be within the PDP. So I'm just trying to get the perspective. First of all, is there significant infighting in Plateau State's PDP?
As of now, there is no any significant infighting because there is no member of the party that has challenged our primaries, that has challenged our repeated congresses, because the person from the other contestant, Honorable Bitrus Kazi, there is public evidence on how he even congratulated the winner during the congresses. So up till our primaries, no single contest that anybody went to court to challenge any of our primaries. None. Not until when our issue got to the tribunal after winning our cases. So if we are now from the tribunal, what they're supposed to look, if they are now looking at those cases, they're supposed to look at were we duly nominated by our own party? Were we duly sponsored by the party? Those are issues that we're supposed to look into.
So what then do you think Justice Okonabang could mean when he said that unless the PDP resolved its issues in Plateau State, it would always suffer self-inflicted misfortune?
Well, and the judge has the best knowledge of how he understood the issues according to how it was presented to him. So I would say that he is not learned, but to us, the facts presented were not adopted as evidence in the court. Because if our facts were adopted by evidence, it could have clearly been read out in the judgment as the judges read out all their judgment. If you read out the judgment of all the judges, you will not see where it talked about our evidences that we have tendered in terms of repeating our congresses. And like I said, even trying to say, from the evidence of INEC, that INEC said that they monitored, the judges went ahead and said that they were not the people that monitored, are not the people that signed for the true certified copy. So if our evidence were duly adopted and as it is, you could have seen it in the judgment.
All right. Well, Honorable, there is more on that one when we return from this break that we want to take now, because one of the questions that one will be asking is, how come the people who are supposed to be there on behalf of INEC were not there? But then, hey, we're not lawyers, we're just dealing with the issues. We're back right after now. There is more when we return. Thank Thank you for staying with us. So, Honorable Bagos, just a quick one before I go back to Mr. Abba in the studio. Well, something that you said the other time when you were saying how come Plateau State has just one panel and not just two. What are you alleging? Are you alleging that there are some people, some surreptitious moves against your party in Plateau State?
Yeah, when you have a serving member boasting you will see it trending that when we go to court, they will show us who they know after we have done what we have done. So, and again, when you are now seeing that it's only Plateau State in the history of this country, that is only Plateau State that has only one panel, like an abattoir, you start wondering that why will somebody be boasting that they will show us who they know when it gets to appeal and when it gets to the Supreme Court. And now you are having that this is what has happened. So in your mindset, you start wondering, was there any plan to take Plateau out of the system of governance in terms of because we are PDP, or in terms of because some people have special interest in whatever we are doing? And people are boasting. I can tell you that before our judgments are being read, already the pronouncement is already flying out in the social media that this person has been sacked and this is the person that has now taken over. So it now gives us a reason to really further interrogate what really is happening with the case of Plateau.
Okay, well,
we believe that we believe in as the hope of the common man. That why is our hope as who is really holding our hands in the issue of Plateau? That you have the votes of over 60,000 people just dashed because of whatsoever interpretation that someone might have failed, and professional misconduct of some of our lawyers, that you were the person that stood for this case, and now you are the person that is standing against the same case you stood for, and nobody is saying anything. That person alone needs to have been sanctioned.
Yeah, I guess that will be something for some kind of judicial interrogation. But let me ask you, Mr. Abba, you've listened to some of the things that Honorable Bagos have said. I'm pretty sure that you have a response or two, particularly from the legal angle. Start with the issue we raised earlier, when he was responding to the questions around the process of that election in Plateau State.
Well, like I have stated repeatedly, the Court of Appeal in the recent judgments have not reinvented the wheel. They have simply followed their previous decisions on the matter. In about 6 previous matters, ranging from 2022, early 2022, up until late October 2022, the Court of Appeal has been consistent in the position that the PDP has no structure on the Plateau. That's in the case of Mohammed Al-Khali, the case of Peter Dassat, in the case of PDP against Plasiek, which went all the way to the Supreme Court.
Going by what what Honorable Bagos said, just 1 second, Mr. Abba. Going by what Mr. Honorable Bagos said the other time, please help us understand, for those who are wondering what this is all about. How much of a concern should it be for anyone who is not a member of a political party, much more or much less the judiciary, that there is no structure in a particular party? How significant is it?
It's very, very significant. Like I tried to explain from the onset, a party does not exist in vacuum. It exists through structures. And the courts have held that the PDP does not have the structure that establishes it as a party on the Plateau.
But Honorable Bagos said that they have a structure. You heard him. He said they have a structure and they have a number of people who form
but the courts have held otherwise. With due respect to him, it is his views against the position of the court, the Court of Appeal. It is his views against and it is this kind of obstinance that has led them to where they are today. If the court has ruled that you do not have a structure, one would expect that they should go back and do the right thing, because the pronouncement of the court is akin to law. So if you insist, and I think that is what Justice Abang was making allusion to, that if they persist on this line, they will continue to suffer this consequence. The PRP has taken advantage of this loophole in the past. The Labour Party has taken advantage of this loophole in the past. The APC is taking advantage of this same loophole. And so if they persist in this line of thinking, they will continue to suffer this consequence. So my advice to them is that let them go back and comply with the order of the courts, because the courts do not take disobedience to their orders lightly. There will be, usually it is visited with severe consequences, and this is what they have reaped, today. So my thinking is that the PDP should do an introspection, go and comply with the order of the court, not insist that to the best of their knowledge they have complied, when the court is saying up till this moment, up to this judgment, that's judgments that have not been set aside, that you do not have a structure. I think the wisest thing to do is to go back and do the right thing, rather than keep insisting to the contrary.
So if it is a state structure, who conducts the primaries?
The primaries are conducted with people that emerge from the structure at the state levels. The delegates are drawn from across board, right from the ward, local government, and state. They are the ones that form the bulk of the delegates.
Because I see that the court says that they violated first of all, the tribunal held that a repeat Congress, that they held the repeat Congress on September 25, 2021, in compliance with the order of a just High Court delivered by SP Gang, that's the judge.
Yes.
But the appellate court says the PDP violated that order, that the Valley Congress was to be conducted in 17 local government areas. So, which speaks to the same matter of the Congress, which Bagos is saying that they had a quorum, and that was done.
And that's what I'm saying. If the Court of Appeal has been consistent since February 2022 up till date, that you don't have a valid Congress or a structure, what is the wise thing to do, sir?
But the primary election, isn't it the sole responsibility of the NEC?
And that is a distinction that must be drawn in this matter.
Which one?
You see, the PDP all along has confused the issue of qualification with that of nomination of its primaries. Nobody in all these matters is talking about the primaries of the PDP. All that the persons that have gone to court, or the parties that have gone to court to contest the qualification of PDP are saying is that, look, you cannot put something and nothing on nothing and expect it to stand. For you to present candidates or field candidates in this election, you must first have a structure in place. And that structure is absent. So no matter how beautifully, how wonderfully you conduct your primaries, it is of no avail to you, because you do not, in the first instance, qualify to be on the ballot. You are like running as if you are running as independent candidates. So irrespective of who does it, you do not have the structure, the foundation, the license to be on the ballot in the first instance.
So in other words, you're saying that some of the lawyers who say that the only issue of qualification cognizable in an election tribunal are those expressly spelled out in the Constitution, and it is, which is 177.
Yes, and
which talks about the qualification of a governor.
Yes.
He's a member of a political party and is sponsored by that political party.
Absolutely.
So they are saying, we, the party members, the party submitted the name, INEC approved, accepted the name, but you're saying they don't have that base.
You see, Chamberlain, elections are a process. It's not just an event. It's not just the final voting. The event starts with the political parties' formation. That's why only registered political parties in Nigeria can contest elections. So that is the starting point. The PDP has been caught up in the web of its own rules and its own constitution. The constitution makes elaborate provisions on its structures, right from ward, local government to state level. Nobody has done that. They're the ones that gave themselves the constitution.
Their own constitution.
Their own constitution.
Of which their own party people say they have complied with, but the APC thinks they have not.
Not the APC. The courts have said they have not.
No, but the APC want to court with it.
Of course, because why not?
So that's what I mean by that.
If the judgment is a judgment in rem, the judgment on its structure is a judgment in rem which anybody can take advantage of.
Did you say there's a precedence on this matter?
There are.
So, the case that he mentioned, where he says a lawyer who represented them on the same matter is now on the other side. Is that right, legally speaking? Is that part of the ethics?
I wouldn't speak.
You're former first vice president of the NBA, so you should know.
I wouldn't speak for Mr. Edward Pajok, whom is alleged.
I'm not saying speak for him.
Yes.
It's clear what has happened. Is it right, legally speaking? Is it part of the ethics of your profession?
That what, specifically?
He says the candidate, the man, lawyer who represented them on this matter, is now on the other side representing the other party on the same matter.
It can't be the same matter. It can't be the same matter.
Let's hear from him directly. Mr. Bagos, what was it you said about the case?
Absolutely on the same matter. Because SAN Edward Pajok was our own counsel, whom even when the matter, we now said, okay, if they are still talking about the structure, let's go back to do another Congress as it were. But he went and obtained an injunction from the court stopping the National Party from dissolving the Congress of the PDP. The judgment is there. He was our counsel. So now, he is now the counsel of the APC, saying that we don't have Congress, while he was the same person that obtained judgment against the National Party not to dissolve our own Congress.
Let's get Mr. Abba to respond directly to that. Now he says it's clarified. It's the same matter.
It can't be the same matter. For you to say it's the same matter, it must be the same parties, same subject matter. Who are the parties in the other matter?
But they are the council. They are the party. They represent. He says.
I mean, who are the parties that the lawyer represented in the other matter is making reference to?
But he says it is a matter. They were the one representing them.
Chamberlain, I'm a lawyer. My responsibility is primarily to the profession, and I'm a professional. And I'll give a quick example. If that is what is relying on, the lead counsel for the PDP in this matter was right from 2015. Up until 2019, the lead counsel for APC. Only this year, he became the lead counsel for PDP. So you said that he's representing the APC, so he cannot represent the PDP?
I'm not sure that. Okay, Mr. Bagos, is that the same context?
No, absolutely not. Because it's not on the same matter.
What I'm saying, who are the parties in the other matter?
But let me even tell you, let me further go ahead, Chamberlain, to stress because of time. Why our issue is not, why is it that we are not being looked upon on the 2023 the 2023 Electoral Act that was being passed by the National Assembly? Because even the structure and the Congress that they are alleging and talking about, none of the Congress members was part of our nomination as members, or even the governor, because it was the National Working Committee that set up a committee to come to Plateau State, take over charge of all activities of the PDP, organize ad hoc delegates, put in ad hoc delegates to be able to bring out candidates for various parties. That is why all over the country you will now start hearing about delegates cashing out, because there is no any Congress or party or structure member of any political party, be it the PDP, APC level, that was part of nomination of any member or even governor or president. It was the national that organized all the party nomination by putting up ad hoc delegates, not even party members across the state levels. So why are we not judged according to the 2022 Electoral Act, which stopped party members apart from ad hoc delegates? So if we were even looked upon on that, and again that nothing can stand on nothing, are we now saying that the national party of any, the national committee of any party is not in charge of the state? The Constitution did not recognize the state organ of any party, but it recognized the national, who is the sponsor. And the national party has sponsored every candidate to INEC, and INEC has adopted that. And the nomination was done by the ad hoc delegate as is being adopted by the national working committee of that party.
All right, we need to start winding
down. So at that level, let's leave the congresses aside. Were we nominated by the congresses? No. Were we nominated by the state structure? No, we were nominated by the National Working Committee of the PDP at the national level, just like it was for the APC, for the Labour Party, and just like it was, and that was why the former Senate President was able to scale through that. He was nominated by the National Party.
Okay, so essentially what he's saying is that the state structure is immaterial in the conduct of primaries.
You can never see.
And the law does not recognize that.
I may need to send Honorable a bill at the end of this program for free legal advice, for legal advice. The beautiful scenario he has painted is restricted to primaries. And that has not been the contentions of the various parties that have challenged their qualification in court and successfully done so. PRP has done so, Labour has done so, APC has done so. In the eye of the law, as we speak today, there is no PDP on the plateau. And that is why these decisions does not cut across the PDP all over the country. It is with respect to Plateau. All the elective offices in Plateau. They should accept the fact that in the eye of the law, as we speak now, there is no PDP on the Plateau for it to participate even in an election. That is the position.
So,
so he's confusing that with their primaries. Beautiful, no matter.
No, I think it's just, from what you say, just trying to make a distinction, because so many are saying the conduct of primaries, the law doesn't recognize the Congress, but you're saying that there's a process to the entire thing that has to be built. But they're saying, look, the key process law recognizes is the primaries.
And the summary of all I'm saying is this: in the eye of the law, as we speak now, there is no PDP on the plateau.
Well, they've gone upstairs. The tribunal did say, yes, they conducted the valid, they obeyed the court, but the appeal says they did not obey the court. So many are saying, well, they'll go to the Supreme Court, which say, look, this matter, in fact, there are different people optimistic, something, no, they will not, as expected of lawyers. Two positions saying, the Supreme Court will say, no, this is an internal party.
And I can tell you one thing, if their lawyers are on this side, they will argue the same point I'm arguing.
Okay, so
I'm brilliantly
in the event that the case he mentioned about lawyers, but I think what I get from you is what he's saying is not the same matter with the lawyer.
It's not the same.
But if it were the same matter, that would be professional misconduct.
I cannot represent you in a matter, then turn around in the same matter and represent your opponent. That is absolutely prohibited. But if the dispute is between, if you have a dispute with Mr. Kayode, for instance, I represent you today, nothing stops me from representing Mope, for instance, in a dispute with you. What stops me?
All right. We'll have to thank both of you for coming on. See what happens with the next scenario at the Supreme Court. Steve Abba, former member, Judicial Service Commission of Plateau State, the former second vice president of the ABA, a former vice chair of SPDL. So this was the time of the APC, wasn't it? The Judicial Service Commission.
Absolutely.
Okay. And then we also had Honorable Judgement Bagos, former member, National Security and Intelligence Committee, a member of the PDP. Gentlemen, thank you both for coming on today.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Ayo.
Well, clearly we're out of time now. Chamberlain is just about 5 minutes before the show ends, and I was hoping that we'd get some of our messages through, but we could not. However, I guess what we can only say at this time is thank you. Thank our people for the privilege of being a part of your morning today. Thank you for all of the messages.
Had Lagos some data from there?
Well, yeah, you know, those data, perhaps just to raise the issues, because I was hoping that we'll be able to have a conversation around it this morning. It's about that information put forward by the candidate of the Labour Party in the governorship election of Lagos, talking about the Lagos government spending. For instance, and the source, of course, is the Lagos State Public Procurement Agency. I'm hoping that we'll be able to see a few of them before we get out of here this morning. Servicing of photocopying machines, for instance, in the office of the deputy governor is put at 6.6 million naira. That's one right there. Procurement of brand new Lexus 600 LX bulletproof sport utility vehicle SUV for the office of the chief of staff, 440.7 million naira. A whole lot of questions on that one. What does the chief of staff need that one for. Of course, there are some explanations from the office of the, from the Lagos State government as well, saying that, you know, this particular one is not just for one individual, it's for some other MDAs. But why is it under the budget line of the Chief of Staff? Some questions that have to be raised about that one. Let me just take this last one. Procurement of 20-unit brand new Leyland vehicles, you know, put at 1.6 billion naira. A whole load of things that one is wondering where it's all coming from. We've attempted to get the Lagos State government to come and respond to some of these issues. We're hoping that we'll be able to get some feedback from them, Chamberlain.
Well, yes, we also saw some statements circulating saying credited to the office of the deputy governor of the state, and that he had written to the procurement agency seeking clarification on that information or publication, which continues to generate debate. He says that that information on their website is untrue, mischievous, fake, and unfounded. So he's seeking clarification from that agency, saying, furnish me with these details, that if you can have this kind of detail on your platform and it's untrue, you can then imagine. So all sorts circulating. So we're just trying to get all of them on board to shed a lot more light on this matter. Probably not heat. Well, that is the show today. We do thank you all for watching. We'll see you again tomorrow. I'm Chamberlain Oso. Goodbye.
And I'm Ayamakine. Have a brilliant day.